PLP F&M leader and his chairman at odds over the web shop issue. A PLP MP's lengthy Facebook post over Leslie Miller's abuse remarks. A look back at the Customs and Immigration Union standoff with government. Plus, preparations continue for this year's IAAF relays. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Vonnie Toot, and NB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, Free National Movement Chairman Darren Cash has reportedly threatened to resign because of what he calls his strong views on Bahamian empowerment and differences within the party over the web shop issue. Cash is at odds with F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis on the matter. Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Bradley Roberts also weighed in today, calling Minnis's views on web shops hypocritical, adding there is clearly bad blood between the F&M leader and his chairman. According to well-placed F&M sources, Cash's threat was made during an executive committee meeting on Monday, during which time senior F&M members criticized his public statements supporting web shops. In a memo to the party's executive committee, Cash urged the F&M to publicly support regulating the web shop sector, noting that the former F&M administration facilitated the expansion of web shops. When contacted for comment today, Dr. Minnis told us he doesn't discuss party politics, but said this.
It's about democracy. It's about a referendum that went to the people and the people voted. And it's about the Prime Minister saying he would be obligated and he would follow through with what the people, the outcome of the people's results. We are a party of the people. We believe in honesty. We believe in integrity. We believe in democracy. We believe in accountability. And therefore, you must follow through with the wishes of the people. If you want to change, then you know what to do. You seek a new mandate via election.
Minnis has called on the government to abide by the results of last year's failed gambling referendum. However, Cash thinks the party should support the regulation and taxation of web shops. PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts says there is clearly some confusion at the party's leadership level.
Well, obviously there's some bad blood between them. The leader is going in one direction and the chairman in the other. Obviously that's a message that is not consistent and obviously generates confusion in the minds of their supporters.
Roberts says he agrees with Cash, who noted in the memo that in 2010, then Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham considered legalizing web shops, but announced he would put it to a public vote after pressure from the religious community.
Darren Cash appears to be holding to the principle that it was the Free National Movement who conducted an exercise with the web shop operators and had obviously come to a conclusion, as was manifested in the words of the then Prime Minister, that they would that it was impossible to control the web shops and that his government was minded to regularize the operation of those web shops.
Robert says, like Cash, he doesn't understand the current position taken by Dr. Minnis, considering he was a member of Ingram's cabinet. He feels Minnis's position is a political one.
It clearly is a hypocrisy, and Minnis' position seems to be changing from day to day. One time I was looking at some newspaper clippings, he was in support of the web shops. Then another time it was another position, so his position seemed to be moving as the wind, whenever direction the wind is blowing.
Cash today released a statement saying that he took note of the story in The Guardian and would not comment, save to claim that he never actually threatened to resign and that he regrets that others have chosen to leak internal party documents. 1 week after the Nassau Guardian highlighted inappropriate abuse remarks made in the House of Assembly by Tall Pines MP Leslie Miller, one of his parliamentary colleagues is speaking out on the horror of domestic violence. Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins posted his views on social media network Facebook. Jasmine Bonamy reports.
Rollins posted the lengthy comments last night on his Facebook page, and since then it has received more than 100 likes. In that statement, the Fort Charlotte MP highlighted the case of a woman who he says lost her sight in one of her eyes after being allegedly abused. Rollins posted the woman's story on his Facebook page while condemning the acts of violence against women. He said, "We must not and we cannot run away from the discussion of domestic violence, particularly violence against women in our society. It is a real problem, and as a society, we must face it. Even in the midst of darkness, we must never end the struggle to find the light." End quote. Rollins said he met the woman whose name is being withheld to protect her identity last night. He added that the mother of three had come in looking for work, and during their conversation he noticed a scar under her eye. Rollins says his constituent told him her husband had allegedly struck her and she lost an eye as a result. Today, Rollins said he saw a definite need to highlight the issue.
But I really believe that this is something that has long been a scourge in our society, something that has really been an embarrassment. When you talk about the amount of violence cases or rapes in such a small society, it tells us that we have a problem. No, I think promoting respect for women transcends politics, and I expect that, as I said, a lot of good will come out of this.
Given the gravity of her situation and that of countless others, Rollins also called on PLP MP Leslie Miller to help bring awareness to the issue. Miller was recently embroiled in controversy surrounding his comments about abuse and an ex-girlfriend in the House of Assembly last month. Miller has since apologized for the comments, saying they were made in jest. Rollins said on Facebook, "It made me think of the ongoing condemnation of an unfortunate misstatement made by my colleague, Mr. Leslie Miller, of which I know he is deeply regretful. I believe, though, that as we try to move our country forward as leaders, there are discussions, no matter how unsettling or uncomfortable they may be, that must be seized as opportunities to create enlightenment within our society and to remove the burdens of ignorance and insensitivity which exist." Rollins insisted the country must face issues such as domestic violence head-on and use such issues to create awareness amongst Bahamians. Reporting for NB12 News, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
Nearly 2 years after taking industrial action under the Ingram administration, leaders of the Bahamas Customs Immigration and Allied Workers Union are now preparing to take a strike vote under the Christie administration. On the campaign trail, then opposition leader Perry Christie pledged to resolve labor issues. However, for customs and immigration workers, that hasn't happened. The union's vice president said yesterday he feels the PLP pounced on an opportunity.
Are y'all serious? Dead serious! Y'all serious? Dead serious!
On the eve of one of the biggest traveling weekends of 2012, chaos erupted outside immigration headquarters on Hawkins Hill, the customs warehouse near Lynden Pinling International Airport, Arawak Key, and customs headquarters, as members of the Bahamas Customs Immigration and Allied Workers Union staged protests.
Nobody touching my vehicle. If you move it, then don't move my vehicle. Don't nobody touch my vehicle here today.
Well, if you don't want to move it.
I ain't got no, how I can move the vehicle and I ain't get the key.
It's obstruction, right?
The union decided to use a strike certificate it received back in January 2012 after the F&M government reportedly failed to deal with three major concerns: proper compensation, health insurance, and what the union called an illegal shift system. But that was just the beginning.
The Customs and Immigration Officers' strike action continues here at the Lynden Pinling International Airport. They're into day 9.
Are you serious?
Dead serious!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
It quickly became an issue on the campaign trail, with then opposition leader Perry Christie telling hundreds of supporters at a PLP rally that if the party won the 2012 general election, it would be committed to resolving labor issues.
We commit to sitting down face to face and getting to the bottom of these matters and resolving them. We believe that it is important to do so, not just for those officers, but for the entire country. So I then want to say to labor in public service, to the customs and immigration officers in particular, to the air traffic controllers, you know that when the PLP says it will sit down and talk with you and resolve these matters, you know that we will do so. You can depend on us. And if you want these matters to be resolved, then I might as well tell you, your choice is clear. Vote PLP.
Christie also said he couldn't understand why the F&M government had not resolved these outstanding issues.
We in the PLP find it difficult to believe that these problems cannot be resolved. At the very least, it is important for the government to take these matters seriously and to ensure that they are settled.
Now fast forward nearly 2 years later to March 11, 2014, when union leaders held a news conference outside Customs headquarters. Vice President Sloan Smith told reporters yesterday that they plan to take a strike vote on Friday after the Christie administration failed to address their concerns.
The reason behind conducting the strike poll is the inactivity of the government and their clear, open declarations that they simply are not going to solve certain things. From the comments we've heard coming from Minister Gibson, it is quite disappointing.
Smith says he feels the PLP pounced on the labor issue while in opposition, but has now failed to deliver.
What happened was we were embroiled in a strike. And the government, then in opposition, saw the opportunity. And they pounced on the opportunity. Now, obviously, if you make those statements, there are people in that body who believe what was said. But from an executive standpoint, we never listened to that. But they made those declarations. And they must stand by those if they feel they want to hold to their words.
Meantime, a judge has ruled that the former F&M government had no obligation to consult any union before placing workers on a controversial shift system. The Customs and Immigration Union was seeking to have the Supreme Court overturn government's decision to introduce the shift system. When the system was introduced back in 2010, it drastically reduced the need for overtime. The issue created a firestorm between Customs and Immigration workers and the Ingram administration. The union argued that the system should not be implemented without its approval. However, acting Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder disagreed. Read all about it in today's Nassau Guardian. Still to come on MB12, government moves to significantly reduce vehicle emissions, plus tonight's Healthy Living segment. So stay with us.